Hi friends! It's been a little while since I've posted on here. I think I mentioned it in one of my last videos, but I had so many summer classes. For about 5 weeks, I was taking 3 different classes, all of which were super demanding. I had a normal spring semester and then I went right into my summer classes after that for another month and a half. And let me tell you, it was a trying time. So anyways, that's over now. I've never been more happy about school ending in my literal entire life. But jumping into what the video is, I thought it would be really fun to show you guys the drugstore makeup products that I use every single day of my life. There are a few products here and there, like some contour stuff, some eyebrow stuff that is higher end products, but for the most part, almost my whole face is entirely drugstore products. Now that I've gone over that whole spiel of why I decided to film this video, let's just go ahead and jump into it so that I can show you guys all the awesome products that I use to create this makeup look that I have on today. Okay, so I'm sure that I mentioned this in the intro, but I do use some products that are high-end for my everyday makeup, but so many of them are drugstore, so I'm just gonna highlight the ones that are drugstore. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna use is the Good Molecule Silicone-Free Priming Moisturizer. This is $12 at Ulta, or I think just online in general, it's $12, which I didn't realize until recently. For whatever reason, ever since they've been sending me stuff, I thought that they were a higher-end brand. Like, there's something about their packaging and the branding of their products that just feels, I don't know, it just feels higher end to me. I just thought that they were more expensive, so I was really excited to see that they're not. I use this every single day. It just gives me a good base to start my makeup with, because my skin, it's not necessarily dry, but I wake up in the morning and I just feel like I need some moisture. Do you know what I mean? So it gives me that. It gives me the moisture that I need underneath my makeup so that everything lays nicely. Next thing that I've been using lately and loving is the E.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This, I believe, retails for $8. I usually just like swirl my finger around in there a little bit. I'm big on like a poreless primer over top of whatever other primer you need. So I just kind of like to do the nose and like the little area between my eyebrows. All right, the next drugstore product that I use pretty much every single day of my life is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this for underneath my eyes. I just feel like I like a creamy concealer. This is not that, this is matte. My dark circles are pretty intense, so this doesn't really cut it for that, but I love using it to carve out my eyebrows. And I did use a brow gel from LA Makeup before I did this, just to give my eyebrows a little bit of a tint. And I will put that in the description below for anyone interested. So I blended out my eyebrows and I went ahead and put on some Anastasia eye primer, which is definitely not drugstore. Although I don't think it's that expensive. I think it might be like $12. Editing Lydia here. I did a quick Google search and it looks like it actually is only $13. So even though it's not drugstore, it's around the same price point as some of the products that I'm talking about. And it is a good eye primer. So even though it doesn't fall into that category, it's worth mentioning. Anyways, I went ahead and grabbed this Pacifica Magical Eyeshadows palette. Just ignore the fact that I've blended foundation on there at some point. Now, most of my favorite palettes are Anastasia, if I'm being honest, but I really love this one for a drugstore palette. It has such a wide range of different colors, and I find that they're all very pigmented and very blendable. Overall, they're easy to work with and great for like putting together everyday makeup looks, as well as putting together something really creative. I'm gonna use the shade Stag here right in the middle, this neutral color, and then also probably a little bit of Falcon, that orange matte shade as well. I don't know about you guys, but I love mixing together eyeshadows to create sort of like a custom shade. I don't wanna do too much because I am gonna be putting a little wing on there. I'm also just gonna go ahead and use this shade here, Mouse, to deepen up my crease a little bit. I like to fan my eyeshadow out a lot. Rather than just like blending it out in sort of a circular pattern, I always pull it up this way. This shade here, Horse, is so pretty. So what I'm gonna do is start out with that color and maybe mix a little bit of the shade Bear in. It's this brown one up here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and make a little wing with that. I'm gonna use White Raven and Wolf together to add a little bit of sparkle on my eyelid, and then we'll pretty much finish up this eye look. Okay, I'm gonna scoot a little bit closer for this. I don't know why I'm so far away. So I threw on a little bit of concealer just to clean up that eyeshadow. Now, what I'm gonna go in with is the product that inspired this video. I've loved this product for a long time, but I just recently rediscovered it because I was looking for a foundation that was going to look good throughout the whole day. Because the one I was using before just wasn't cutting it. I was trying a couple of different ones, but they were just either too matte or too oily, or like they started to break up a little bit on the skin throughout the day. They were not doing what I needed them to do. So the one that I went ahead and said, hey, I'll try this one again, let's see how it works, is the COVERGIRL Clean Fresh Skin Milk foundation. Now I have two here because I've been mixing them together because I have fake tan on. This is the lightest shade. This is shade 510 Porcelain. And then of course this one is 570 medium tan. It does have a dewy finish, which I find interesting because I wouldn't usually consider a dewy finish to be one that's gonna last well throughout the day. I'm oily and I'm also someone who sweats a lot when I get warm. So I was surprised when I wore this the first time, like the whole day through, and it lasted so well. Like at the end of the day, I was supposed to go meet someone after work. It still looked so good. And at that point, usually I would have to be like fixing my makeup, but I barely had to do anything. This does sometimes pill up just a little bit when you apply it. I know that sounds weird. I have no idea why it does that. The pilling will kind of just like blend off or like brush off. And if you can get over that, it's perfect in every other way, in my opinion. For my skin type, for the way that I use it, it works beautifully. Now that I've sat here and talked about it for like 10 whole minutes, I'm gonna just dot some on. Usually what I'll do is just put a couple dots of that one and then like one dot of the tan one. I'm a big brush kind of gal these days, but I've started using sponges more often because I was just having complexion issues with my foundation not looking as smooth as I wanted it to. And I feel like sponges can really help with that. And the next thing is the Insta Duo Contour Stick from Rimmel London. So I just use this little end here. So what I like to do, just because I really like using this brush for it, this is a RL Moda brush. I'm not sure what that brand is. I think this came in a BoxyCharm. It's just a synthetic hair powder brush, essentially. I like to just kind of brush it over that little stick there. Basically cream contour with it. And I just really like putting on a cream contour / cream bronzer product as a base for my contour, my bronzer later. It makes it look less powdery throughout the day, and it makes the pigment hang on for a lot longer. Okay, the next drugstore product that we have going on is the Coty Airspun powder. It's a mostly translucent powder. They do have it in different shades, which is nice, but I just like to take this on a little dry beauty blender. I will pat it under the eyes, and then I'll also pat it on the nose. I think this is what helps me combat the potential oiliness of this foundation. And I don't like to brush powder onto my face. I kind of like to pat it on. I think it's $11 at Target, Walmart kind of thing. Okay, editing Lydia, dropping back in to tell you the actual price of these products. As you can see on here, it's only $5.72 at Walmart, which is awesome. I don't know why I thought it was more expensive. I didn't really get into this in the video, but I don't really have super strong feelings about powders. I really like this one just because it's not expensive, very accessible, and it gets the job done. I'm gonna go contour really quick and then pop back in when I'm doing blush and highlighter. Something else that I'll say about this foundation that I kind of forgot to mention earlier, I thought about this because I'm grabbing my blush that I'm gonna use now, is that I feel like blush specifically, but also like other face pigments like bronzer and contour and whatnot, last really, really well when this foundation is your base. I feel like when you notice a difference like that, just when you're going about your day, you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, my blush still looks good, that it's really doing something different than most foundations. Okay, so the blushes that I'm gonna use today, the Milani Luminoso 05. This is a classic. This is the shade 210 Peach of Me Baked Powder Blush. I'm gonna put these on my face, just mix them together a little bit. That shade, Peach of Me, the one that's the darker color, so much pigment. You have to be so careful with that one. That's why I decided to mix it together with the other one because it's a little bit too bright. All right, my last face product that I'm gonna use today is one of my favorite highlighters that I've probably ever used, and that sounds dramatic, but it's true. This is the Hello Halo Blush Lighter. I usually just use the golden shade, and the rest of my face. I've always found Wet n Wild highlighters to be some of the absolute best highlighters that I've ever tried. This one is no exception. I feel like they give just the right amount of shine without being too pigmented that you feel like you have a stripe of powder on your face. So I'm gonna just like dip back and forth in both of those, put it a little bit, just kind of blend it out on the cheek so it's like not too concentrated. Okay, I sprayed my face with some setting spray, Urban Decay All Nighter. Now I'm gonna do my lashes. The mascara that I've sworn by for probably the last 6 months is the Essence Lash Princess. I think this is one that Tarte loved for a long time back in the day. I was so convinced that nothing would ever come between me and CoverGirl Exhibitionist. I still stand by the fact that that mascara is incredible. However, I have a lot of qualms with it. CoverGirl Exhibitionist is so waterproof that you cannot take it all off in one sitting. It also transfers really badly, which seems like an oxymoron. Like, how could it possibly be that waterproof but also transfer horribly, like under your eyebrows where your eyelashes touch your face? It does keep your eyelashes so curled though. But that's part of the reason that I love this mascara so much, because even though I feel like it doesn't quite keep my eyelashes as curled as Exhibitionist does, it gives them such a nice lift, holds them in place. It does sometimes transfer just a little bit underneath my eyebrows, but it's nowhere near as bad as Exhibitionist. This one has replaced Exhibitionist in my heart. This is my go-to mascara. I've been using it for at least 6 months straight. Do you see that? I hope you guys can tell just how well it's holding that eyelash curl. My eyelashes are stuck straight up, if I'm being honest. It holds them up so well. Okay, the first lip product I'm gonna use, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite makeup products that I own and have ever owned. So this is the NYX Professional Makeup Suede Matte Lip Liner in the shade Lavender and Lace. It is a little bit smushed in because I messed it up the other day. It's a mauvey purpley tone. My skin is very much like yellow undertone, but my lips have almost like purpliness to them. What everyone talks about as being like your lip color but better, it is that for me, so that's why I love it so much. I did just put a little bit of a lip balm on and like rub my lips together so you can see this is what it looks like when it blends out. Last product is another Wet n Wild product. Okay, editing Lydia one last time, popping in because this packaging didn't have the actual name of the product on it, but it's called the Mega Last High Shine Lip Color. So here it is for anyone who was wondering. The lipstick that I'm about to apply. This is the shade Close Off. It's really messed up because it melted a little bit in my purse. It's a similar tone, honestly, to the lip liner that I just used, but it's a little bit pinker. So that's the lip combo. Now that I have this face on, I think what I'm gonna go do is fix my hair and then we'll wrap this up. This is the finished look, and this is honestly what I've been doing a lot lately just for my regular summertime makeup, and hopefully you guys got some good ideas about what products you might wanna try out next time you are in search of some really good, inexpensive makeup. I'm sure I could definitely keep rambling about these products, but at this point, they speak for themselves. You saw how great they applied. Pretty much everything on this list is under $12. They're very affordable and very much worth it if you're looking for some new drugstore products to try out. Anyone who wants to keep up with me, you can look in the description box below. All of my social medias will be listed down there. Now that I am out of school and getting back on my schedule, my goal is to post every single Friday. Per usual, feel free to go ahead and like and subscribe. Comment anything down below that you have a question about, that you want to chat with me about. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or evening or whenever you're watching this, and I will catch you on the next one.